Hey there, my name is Morgan Lander. I am 1/3 of Witch Finger Horror Podcast, as well as the lead singer of the metal band Kitty and the lead singer of the metal band Car Chaos. And I am located in London, Ontario, Canada. Well, I started collecting tapes not really even that long ago. It's actually probably only been about 5 years. And I only know that because I kind of started collecting tapes around the same time that I started the Witch Finger Horror Podcast with Yasmina and Megan. And it wasn't really something that I was very interested in doing in the past. Not that I wasn't interested in the movies themselves, because a lot of the movies that I've collected are movies that I grew up with, that I have a lot of nostalgic connection with, and, you know, I've seen over and over again. It's just that my life sort of early on was kind of weird and interesting. I did a lot of traveling. I wasn't home a lot of the time. And so for me, it just never really clicked that it made sense to accumulate a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean that I didn't have tapes, because I did have like a little stash of like some of my most prized tapes, like Dead Pit and a bunch of other stuff, just kind of hidden away. But it wasn't until I started with the podcast that I was like, this is kind of an interesting way to sort of celebrate the nostalgia of what we're doing with the podcast, as well as, you know, get your hands on some cool stuff. Like the covers are awesome. You know, like I said, the nostalgia is real. And a lot of these movies too are just movies that people haven't seen, that are not available on DVD or Blu-ray. Lots of stuff is out of print, and there's just like a real magic about that I love. Whew. How many tapes do I have? This is a very good question. As you can see behind me here, I am sitting in front of my wall of tapes. And by no means do I feel like I have a great collection. Like my list of wants is like hundreds long. But I think I probably have somewhere in the realm of 600 or 700 tapes. I feel like each one of these blocks can hold like 15, and then some of these ones up top hold like 10. I did a little quick like rough count. It's about 700. As you can see here, I'm actually sitting beside a large pile of tapes that I actually don't have shelf space for anymore. So now my plan is going to be to remove some of the more like common crap and hide that away, and then just continue to collect more of the obscure stuff that all collectors sort of end up doing. It's like a drug, you know, you start with marijuana, next thing you know, you're on the streets with tapes in your veins. It's crazy. This is really hard. I don't know if I can tell you why this might be my most prized tape, because there's not really a great story behind it. And I know part of this was like, tell a great story about your most prized tape and why, you know, and I don't really have anything left over from my childhood that I'm really connected with and that sort of thing. But my most prized tape is my copy of Rotor. And I know that's crazy. There's not really a really great story behind it. I actually bought this off eBay. The movie itself is just one of those movies that like I discovered sort of early on in the whole like collecting sort of saga, and there's just something so fucking hilarious about this movie. I love Rotor. I have a Rotor t-shirt. I have a Rotor poster. I tried to add the guy who wrote and directed it on Facebook. He didn't add me. He doesn't want to be my friend. That's totally fine. This is really cool because this is the North Star home video, so it's the Canadian release, I guess. I did buy it from someone in Canada. I don't know if they're just like, let's print these in Canada, slap a sticker on it, whatever. I have, I guess, what would be considered much more rare tapes than Rotor, but for some reason, owning this copy is just magic to me. And I know that there is another variation, which is the green variation. Like this one is like, as you can see, it's got more of a maroon red kind of spine. And I do know people that have the green variation, and I would like a copy of that as well, just, you know, to have maybe a Rotor display for Christmas, red and green. It'd be real cool. Oh, hold on. Let's see. Trick or Treat, is that fucking rare? I don't fucking know. Demon Wind, I don't think so. Okay, so I find that the whole idea of owning rare tapes, it's such a difficult thing because I feel like, especially recently, it seems like people are exploiting, especially in horror, people that collect, and I've seen tape prices rise and rise and rise where, you know, you're seeing a copy of Deadly Prey on eBay go for like $250, and to me that's crazy. Tape collecting to me has always been more about like, you know, the score like at the thrift store, even though I haven't like had that great of luck, or like making great trades and you're making connections, or like awesome fire sales, or like going to somebody's garage and like buying tapes. I think it's really difficult to assess what's rare these days and what's not. I have like a copy of Demon Wind. Is that rare? I don't know. It's not the lenticular. Does that make it less rare or more rare? I don't know. I've got like a copy of Trick or Treat. Is that rare? Lots of people are like, this is a great tape. I agree, but is it super rare? I have a copy of Pieces. People are like, this is a rare tape. I guess it's rare. And maybe I have stuff that's considered more, like Slaughterhouse or Junior. I don't know, like, it's hard to say because, like, does the price that it goes for correlate with how rare it is or how sought after it is? It seems like, for me, yes, because the tapes that I want that are like my grail tapes are those pricey tapes. And so we gotta help a sister out. So yes, that brings us to our next question. What tapes are on my want list, on my grail list? What do I want? Well, I want it all. You know, of course you can't have it all, but off the top of my head right now, Deadly Prey is definitely one. I've been collecting and watching a lot of AIP tapes, and that's like kind of like the big one, even though I guess it was released by Sony. There is like a little Sony thing on it usually, but it is AIP and it is David A. Pryor, so that's cool with me. Terror on Tour is a huge one. I actually missed out last night in a fire sale for a copy of Terror on Tour. For me, that movie is so nostalgic. On the very first tour that Kitty ever did, we had like a little camper. We did 2 weeks in the United States doing Milwaukee Metal Fest, and we toured with Skin Lab. And we had a friend who worked at the local video store, and for the 2 weeks that we were on tour, he let us come in and take, not rent, just take whatever we wanted for those 2 weeks. And we were like going nuts. Like, we grabbed so much stuff, and like the two off the top of my head that I really remember watching over and over were Crazy Fat Ethel 2 and Terror on Tour. And so for me, that movie is so nostalgic. It was like, this is gonna be so great. This movie's about a band and a murder. This is gonna be amazing. And it was. I recently watched it again after a long time. The dialogue is fucking great. I love it. Every cliche that you could have about a rock band is in it. And then there's some murder too, which is really cool. Love the clowns. Anyways, if you can hook me up, that's cool. And lastly, I'll add Sledgehammer on there, another David A. Pryor magical tape. That's his first movie. I have a copy on DVD, but Sledgehammer, it's beautiful, nice clamshell. That's another grail tape of mine, so we'll say those three for now. So I would say that my favorite part of the VHS community would be, I don't know, just like the camaraderie, the jokes. It's kind of like an inside club, and not like I feel like I'm like a huge influencer or a huge part of that, but I do in a way kind of feel like people that collect tapes, like it's like you just know, right? And I've met a lot of great people through the VHS community. VHS Fest every year that it's been on, my friends and I have gone down to the Mahoning Drive-In, and that's actually been a big part of my collecting experience. You know, they always have great vendors there, you know, you can get a lot of cool tapes, but you're meeting people that are influencers in the community, and it's really cool to see their visions come together with, you know, a community project, like a community meeting. It's like a big meetup. People from all over come, and that's really, really cool. And I love that there are people that also just don't really put that much stock into the pricing and, you know, the clout that it all brings. You know, there are people in the community that are like, I'm selling this tape that you would pay $60 for on eBay for 1 cent. Do you know what I mean? I love that. I feel like, you know, those are the right people in the community where it's like, this is all just for fun. And that's true. It's all about fun. It's all about, you know, trading and like laughing. You know, for me, the collecting part is one big aspect, but it's a movie. You're supposed to watch it, right? And so watching it is the best part. I never laugh so hard as when I see a rubber alien or when I see somebody get their head chopped off with a sword, or when there's bad dialogue, or things just don't make sense. Like, these are hilarious things to me, and that's why I love it. That's why I love the community, and I love the people that are not taking it too seriously. Well, as I said earlier, I haven't really had that great of luck with thrifting, so I haven't found too many cool things in the wild. London, Ontario is a little bit of a barren wasteland, but I actually have managed to find a couple cool things that are of note at like the antique mall. I found the Outing there, I found hardware there, I found a copy of Snake Eater at the Salvation Army. That's pretty cool. Tuxedo Warrior, whatever the fuck that is. That shit was weird. But yeah, so I haven't had that much luck, but those off the top of my head are probably some of the better finds that I've managed to zone in on, I guess. I mainly collect horror and also action movies, so I would say that makes up the bulk of my collection and my watching experience. Sci-fi as well. You know, a lot of times sci-fi and horror kind of go hand in hand when it comes to like rubber aliens and that type of thing as well. I don't really have a lot of comedies. I don't like to laugh. Just kidding. Just kidding. I do like to laugh, but I'm laughing at the wrong things. And that's it. You know what? I actually haven't done too many trades. Actually, 0 trades. And it's not something that I'm super into. I feel like I collect for me, and like if maybe I had a double of something, I would gift it and not really expect anything in return. And I have done that before. I had doubles of Dungeon Master and I gave another copy to a friend because I was like, hey man, you need the Dungeon Master in your life. And he was like, that's awesome. So yeah, I haven't done really any trades, and I just don't feel like that's really my thing. There are a lot of people that do, but it's just not really my thing. Plus, like, shipping is expensive. If people want to do trades from the States, like, that's really expensive. Alright, as far as new tapes are concerned, I feel like I could go over like a whole bunch of them, because I feel like in the absence of being able to go out and like either look for tapes or go thrifting or like make it to VHS Fest, I have sort of found salvation in like fire sales on different Facebook groups. And so I feel like, you know, even though COVID has been like a really kind of unfortunate situation for doing a lot of fun things, like it's actually been kind of good to me in terms of like enhancing my collection while I've been sitting on the comfort of my couch, I guess. So I've probably actually either purchased or received, I don't know, it's probably like 40 or 50 tapes in the last like few months. And because now my sort of new obsession is AIP and that sort of thing, I've been kind of scouring, you know, fire sales and tape sellers online for those types of things. So the newest tape that I've acquired is Striker. I saw the cover of this and I was like, I have to have this. Like, look at this fucking guy. This is gonna be an incredible movie. And I have to say that I have not laughed as hard as I have in a very, very long time, as hard as I have when I watch an AIP movie. Rage to Kill made me have tears streaming down my face. And so it's like chasing that first heroin high, you know? Oh, you watch that movie and it's so funny, and now I hope every AIP movie that I put into my VCR is just as fucking funny, and it usually is. So this is my newest tape, and I can't wait to watch this. I remember the first tape that I purchased myself. I believe I was around 12 years old, and I bought Ace Ventura on tape. Oh my god, I just spit all over myself. Because that movie is ridiculous, and it does not hold up at all. There's a lot of things in there that are very questionable these days. But Ace Ventura was the very first tape that I purchased, like with my own money, I guess my allowance or whatever, around 12. I don't recall any purchases or movies that like I watched over and over again as a kid. I remember we rented a lot of stuff. Like I can recall renting the Corpse Grinders a lot from the local Jumbo Video, and the movie Baby, which was the movie with, what's his name, William Catt from House and like a baby dinosaur, Mokili Mbembe. It was a fucking sad movie, man. I watched that a lot as well, and maybe we had it on tape, but I can't really be sure. So yeah, we'll go with Ace Ventura. I don't still have it. I'm not really sure what happened to it. Probably in the trash, which is kind of sad. All right, well, that's it for me. You have met the VHS Collector, one of many. Maybe not the coolest, but I try very hard. So thanks for watching. This is really cool. I hope everybody enjoyed hearing about some of my tapes, my collection, and that's it. We're cool, man.